Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. TDU Solar Crown, let's talk about it. Sorta my review. Let's boot it up, see if everything works. We're not gonna drive too much, we're just gonna talk about the features and things which are happening. We're booting up the game at 180 FPS. That will change very quickly. Now obviously the video is recorded in 1080, but we are playing at the moment in 2K. This is our hotel room maxed out to the maximum. We'll have a look around that. Got a bedroom, we got our dressing where you can change your clothes and things like that. We have a bit of a balcony that you can walk around on. A little bit of a kitchen. And we have some lounge over here where you can relax a little bit. I'm still not sure what that thing is actually doing here, to be honest. And what do I mean by that is, every time you boot up the game, this is your spawn point, I guess. Because other than that, going to the dressing and changing your clothes, there's nothing you can do in this hotel room at all. But you do spawn in every time here when you boot up the game. So you have to go to the hotel lobby before you can do anything else. Now I can potentially open the map and travel to wherever I want, because this is how it works. There are no houses or anything, at least not at this moment in time. They are talking about houses coming later, but we will see. We're dealing with what we're dealing with. I started playing on September 5. There is a clothing store here, by the way, and some beauty salon over there where you can buy some new clothes. In the beauty salon you can change your face and things like that if you want to look a little bit differently. Walking out of the hotel, you have a few options. You can talk to this lady and change your car. You can just walk out and then you will be in the car that you will be in, or you can go to the right side elevator and go into your garage. This is your personal garage. You have 6 vehicles standing in here. That's the maximum. You can change these things. You can get in the car and then exit. It's not like the car drives out. It will just put you outside in the car. And going about these cars, this is probably sort of what you want to mess around with. There's 1 or 2 races which need a 450 car. I would recommend the Alfa Romeo Mito. That seems to be the thing to use over there. The daily driver level 450. Daily driver level 550. In general, you want to look for 4-wheel drive cars. They are going to be pretty much the most successful and also topping up the leaderboards. So for your daily driver 550, there are a bunch of races at 550 maximum level. So I would suggest the Audi TT RS Quattro, which has 4-wheel drive. Cross country, there are some 500 races, some 700 races I think, but most of them are 600. So you upgrade your vehicle to 600 and unfortunately also in this class there is a bit of a OP car, being this Cientero buggy. All the rest in cross country doesn't even play. You can look at every cross country event in the game. It will be this buggy which is topping up the leaderboards. You need some supercars. I have a 750 Jaguar here. Drives pretty good actually. But that was in my garage, so I didn't need to buy it. So I tuned this thing to 750 and I'm using this. Although I have to retune it a little bit. We'll come to that later. But I think I have at this moment some sort of all-road suspension on it, which is not great for every track. This is the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, which is probably the one to use. Because there are a bunch of races, especially in Superclass, where it is a bit of a story between Lamborghini and Ferrari. So you want to have either a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Now I have maxed this out with the highest parts available, and instead of slicks, that makes it 1024, but if you change the slicks into semi-slicks, that makes it exactly 999. Other than that, it will have all the maximum parts. That's all fine, but there's only 1 or 2 races which have a level 1000. Most of the supercar races are level 900. So I'm gonna have to retune this with purple parts or blue parts to get it to 900, probably. And then of course we have the hypercar. Also here, I would say go for a Bugatti or go for the Porsche 918 Spider. There are some broken cars like the Ferrari 812 Superfast, which indeed goes super fast. It goes over 600 kilometers an hour. This thing also comes very close. 593 with the roof down, I believe. It has a bunch of upgrades, including some electric parts. I have maxed this thing out. It is 1198. Also here, I think I have 1 race eligible, so I'm assuming there is 1 1200 race. So also this needs to be retuned to 1100 probably for hypercar. If I can find the right pixel, I might be able to get in. Not ideal with the keyboard, as you can see. And then the worst part of all is trying to find the ignition. There it is. It's not like you can drive out of this garage, but as you can see on the left top there of my screen, we are getting about 60, 70 FPS at the moment, 72. Sometimes it goes to 80. Sometimes if you're a bit more in the south, you can get it to 90. I'm running an i9 processor with an RTX 2080 Ti and 64 gigs of RAM, water cooled, and I'm running the game from an M.2 SSD. Not the latest gen, of course, but still pretty high end. Back in the day when I bought it, it was the best you could get. That's not very promising, is it? If I'm getting 70 FPS here at 2K, then you can imagine that somebody playing with a 3060 or 3070, yeah, GG, you're not gonna get 60 FPS in this game. Apparently on console it's also not great. You can get 30 FPS at 2K and 60 FPS at 1080, I think. And even then you have some frame drops. So not super graphically. They definitely need an upgrade. And we are not running the highest settings here. But does that matter? Not really. What do I mean by that? It doesn't seem to matter much if you run this thing. As you can see, we're running it on 2K. We have the DLSS on, because if I put it off, I'm getting like 50 FPS, I think. Low latency is on. Of course, if you run an AMD system, you can also run the FSR instead of the DLSS. But other than that, graphics wise, we are sort of running it on medium at the moment. And then the things which are really killing, we sort of brought down. Something like shadow and particle effects and water quality, things which do not matter that much, we put on low, and the rest is sort of medium. All post-processing stuff we have put off. That brings the VRAM sort of half of what I have on my 2080 Ti. I have 11 gigabytes, it's using 5.8 gigabytes. Well, at least today it is. The first day when we started playing, I think it booted up the game from the GPU, because we were at 10,000 megabytes of VRAM. So that is sort of what it comes down to. The graphics, it still needs quite some optimization. Once you start driving and you run in, you see it immediately go, we are driving into the city. At night with some rain, you get about 50 FPS on a good day. In races, that is. In free roam it's kinda okay. Like here I'm getting 90 now, suddenly it jumps all over the place. Not much of an impact, is it? I think you see one of the problems in this game. The vehicles have no weight. There are some people out there who are claiming that all cars have decent weight. I don't know what game they have been playing, but I played 100 hours now, since September 5. One of the major issues with the physics I have is that the cars have no weight. A little bump here or there, it flips the car over the car. The next thing we have a problem with is these things here. I'm gonna hit some grass here on the right. Lose all my speed. Just a little bit. Of course we hit the tree, that's something else. But even if you just go through this grass, you lose all speed. No matter if you have all road suspension or whatnot, it doesn't do much. And that all has to do, in my opinion, with the weight of the car. The cars are too light, which means that even on all of these props that you can hit, the fences, the grass, you just lose all speed. You might have noticed something else. We are driving through the city here at full speed. We saw like 3 cars. The map itself is sort of need to try to figure out how to zoom out here. I'm not normally playing with the keyboard, by the way. Normally I'm playing with the wheel. Outside I have my wheel on 900 degrees, inside at 360. It's not that bad. It drives pretty okay with the wheel. But those who are claiming that it's Simcade, no, also not really. It is and stays an arcade game. That's also why I have my wheel at 360, because you can put your wheel at 900 or 1080. Yeah, also very fun to drift around with, but once you start racing, you want to go 360 or lower, because seeing it is more of an arcade game, I think if you really want to be fast, you probably have to put it on 180. But I'm driving at 360 at the moment, rotation with the wheel. The map itself, that's about it here, what you see. So we are sort of talking Forza Horizon, Motorfest, Need for Speed. It's sort of the same map size, which is not that big once you start driving around. But then we come to the biggest problem. While I have the map open, I need to show the player list and try to figure out, there we go. This is the biggest problem of this game. On the left you can see the group is myself. Nearby I have 2 players in my session. And then I have 2 friends on Steam who have this game and who are in the EU. That is the biggest grief that I have with this game. It is region locked. Myself on my Discord, for instance, I am playing, and Forever Pink, aka Linda, she is playing. She's in the US, we cannot play together. This game in 2024 calls itself an MMO. It is region locked. So unless I make some new friends in the EU, good luck me, otherwise it's gonna be very much driving around by myself. And that of course means being mostly a Nighthawk. In other games I mostly play with Americans. I'm playing at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, not many people online on the EU. At this moment it's 8 AM in the morning when I'm recording this. There are 2 people nearby in my session. Now what is my session? My session is the whole map. Everything is based on 4 and 8. If you make a group, the maximum people you can get in there is 4 people. Sort of similar as in the crew Motorfest, you can make a crew of 4, the same here. But unlike in the crew 1, for instance, where you also had like 8 people in your session, if you went to a PvP lobby, it was searching on worldwide servers, and that lobby filled up with 8 people. This thing is an MMO, a massive multiplayer online. Well, I would rather call it an MSO, a multiplayer, a single player online. I've been playing for about 100 hours now, for 10 days, since September 5. I don't feel like this is a multiplayer game. I have seen exactly 4 people in all of the races that I have done on this map. There is a rank system here which unlocks at level 20, where you can go into competition and sort of do PvP racing. It took me 4 days. 4 days to get the 5 placement races done. You need to do 5 races so that you can get a rank into the rank system. 5 days it took me. I eventually got a player in my lobby. It was a 900 lobby. I had a 750 car, but I stayed in. I thought like, oh, I have an opponent, I'm gonna stay in. This guy had a 900 car. Obviously he beat me 5 times. Not even funny, like 10 seconds. But he stayed in the lobby because I was giving him free wins, and I got my placement done. So after 5 races of placement, it finally gave me a rank, which turned out to be bronze 3, because obviously I finished in 2nd place 5 times, so we actually get points for it, because there were only 2 people in the lobby. After that, I have not been able to get, since I have a rank, in other words, I have not been able to get any players in ranked racing. So I'm still bronze 3, I didn't gain any points so far yet. And that pretty much goes for every race on the map. If you go to a race, any of these little icons here, you can go to whatever race you want. It goes to a 2-minute countdown once you start up the race. And you have to let that 2 minutes run out and then hope that somebody joins the race. You can also press start race, do a quick start, then the countdown immediately goes down to 10 seconds. It can still find people in those 10 seconds, but that doesn't happen very often. So it's gonna fill up the lobby with AI. Talking about the AI, they are completely inconsistent and random. They are not programmed to deal with you. They do not take in consideration where you are driving or whatsoever. They are programmed to drive on a rail, and they do not go off that rail. If you for some reason or another push them off the rail, then they get hell of confused. There are some races, like here you can see, right? You can go through this session. This Maxime Dubois guy here, he's standing on that race over there. This Lorenzo guy, he's standing still on one of the dirt paths over there. This guy is driving there, exploring the world. And this guy is also driving on that road here. You can see him move here on my screen. So if I go to a race, not likely that any of these people are going to show up in my race, and I think that is how the system works at the moment. If you start a race, I can go to this race. I might be able to join this guy here, because he seems to be doing this race. But other than that, completely random. And the way I see it, from my experience with 100 hours in this game, I come to the conclusion that you have your session, which is the whole map, with a maximum of 8 players. In this case we have 5 people here beside myself, so 6 people in total. You're only gonna get a full lobby if every single of those people that you have in your session come to the same race. The same goes in something like a workshop. Let's try to get on this thing here, if I can. Doesn't want to do it by the looks of it. I need to close down this shit again. The one, yep, okay. And it's the same. Everything is based on 8, like I said earlier. If we go to a workshop, for instance, let's go inside. The same story here. It's based on 8. The lobby is filled with AI. We have 8 platforms here. Where are you? Most of the time you are on platform number 1. Because again, This thing will only fill up with other cars, people working on their car, if they are in your session. It's those same 8 people that you saw on the map in your session. So in theory, if your session is full with 8 people, in theory they could all come to the workshop at this specific workshop, because there are multiple workshops in the map, but if they all come to this specific workshop, then in theory all these platforms could be with cars. I think I had one time where I was on platform 3. All the rest of the week that I have been playing and working on my cars, I am always here on platform A1. Every single time. Again, single player experience, right? You are in a big hall here and you feel empty pace the whole time. And the same goes for in the solar hotels a little bit. When you boot up the game, you sometimes run into somebody in the lobby because he or she is also booting up the lobby at the same time. So after 100 hours in the game, when it comes to the multiplayer aspect, it doesn't feel to me like it is one. It feels like a single player campaign. Which brings us of course to the question, I paid $80 for the gold edition. Is this worth $80? I don't know. You have your menu thing here. TDU and me is sort of the stats that you can check. You have instant challenges. Instant challenges, that means that you need to challenge another player. It's a bit of a problem because, as mentioned before, it's a bit of a single player game. Also, when you drive around in free roam, unless you look on your map for the people in your session and you actually travel nearby them, then you might actually see them. Other than that, you're not going to see many people driving around in free roam. These instant challenges, by default they are set on 1,000. You can put them on 15,000 or 50,000, and then that is the amount that will be charged if you challenge another player. You can challenge them with these instant challenges by flashing your headlight, and if he will get a pop-up. If he wishes to accept, then you are racing for whatever you have put in here. By default it's 1,000 coins, but you could also race for 50,000 coins if you want. I haven't done any of these because, as said, never met another player on the map, or he was doing his own thing or whatever. So I don't even bother with these instant challenges. And then you have some news going on as well. Then of course you have your cars. With your car collection at the moment, I have about 17 cars. You have the Mercedes 300 SL. That is one of the car wrecks that you can find on the map. I also advise you to go look for these things because that's where most of your XP is going to come from. It's from exploration. There's also a bit of an economical problem once you start playing a little bit. In the beginning it's fine, you think like, oh okay, I'm making enough money. But once you level up a little bit, then you might have some economy problem where you run out of money very quickly and not gain a lot of money anymore. The maximum you can get from just normally doing a race is about 20,000 bucks. The first time you do it, it is possible that you can get a new record bonus or a first completion bonus, which might make it possible to get 32,000 for a race, but most of the time you're just going to get 20,000. You can do that 5 times. If you do 5 times that race, you will get 5 times 20,000. After 5 times, it's sort of half of that money that you get for that specific race. So which means that every race on the map you can do about 5 times to make the maximum money. After that it's going to half. Instead of 20,000 you're going to get something like 10,000 from that race. So that suddenly you already see economy wise the money is going down very quickly. I bought the 370Z as my starter car for the simple reason I have been involved in all 3 of the playtests and the demo. I already driven the Alpine and the Mustang, which are the other starter cars. So I decided to go for the 370 this time. Probably not the best choice, because in general you want to go for 4-wheel drive as soon as possible. So in a way it doesn't matter much which starter car you want to buy, because you're gonna have to go to that Audi TT RS as quickly as possible. for your daily driver, because that thing has 4-wheel drive. That's going to give you the best experience in, let's say, the 500 to 550 category. Then there are some races which need specific vehicles. That's why you, for instance, see the Alfa Romeo Mito in my garage for the 450 races. I still need to buy the Abarth for the 350 races, which apparently is the OP car for 350. And then you need a 600 car as well for daily drivers, which is one of the 5 categories, is the daily driver, the D class. And we also needed a 600. I bought the Mini. That was already very risky because that thing is about 800,000 plus performance parts to get it to 600, which probably makes it about $1 million for this car, and it's not even that good. So that's already a very risky business that I lost my $1 million there. We also have the Lancia Delta, the same story. Another race required you to use the Lancia, so you had to buy one if you wanted to do that race. Then we switched from daily drivers. The second category, once you hit level 15, you get a cross country. Cross country, we have this Volkswagen Beetle, is also one of the car wrecks. There are 14 districts on the map. In every district you will find one wreck for the Mercedes and one wreck for the Beetle. And once you have all 14, it will automatically give you that car. So the Mercedes 300 SL and the Volkswagen Beetle are pretty much free cars. They're also not that great, unless you want to spend a lot of money on it upgrading them, which I would not advise you, because you need to be very careful with your money, as I said. When it comes to the Land Rover, was in one of the packs that I had by buying the game. It's not that great. Messed around a bit, put some parts on it. It's not that great. So we needed to buy the buggy over there, the Scientero. That's the way to go in cross country. Then we go to GT racing. One of the Mercedes wrecks is indeed a GT class. And then one of the packs, I think the Sharps pack or the Silver pack, had this Mercedes SLS. So I am using this thing now, but that is not a wise choice because it's rear wheel drive. We have the traction control on 50% to get more money and things like that. You can win against the AI with these things, but it's not advisable. In GT you are looking for the Porsche Taycan Gran Turismo. That thing is 1.2 million, I think. So I still need to buy that one. Then in supercars, we had a bunch of them available. So I started upgrading that Jaguar. For the 750 races, it's not actually a bad choice. So I just kept using this for the 750 races, and then for the 900 races, as mentioned before, a bunch of them are a bit of a battle between Lamborghini and Ferrari, so you want to buy one of those too. In this case I bought a Lamborghini Huracan Performante, which seems in supercars pretty much the best one, going by the leaderboards. I have it maxed out here to 999, but I probably have to retune it to 900 because there are only 1 or 2 races at 1000 level. Most of the supercars are either 750 or 900. So we're using the Jaguar for the 750 and then the Huracan for the 900 probably. I had the Audi tuned, the Audi R8 Spider, which was also in the garage from one of the starter specs from the Gold Edition that we bought. So I tuned that to 900, but you can't use it in many races, as said. Mostly you need a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, because there's some sort of battle going on between those two brands when you look at the supercar races. And then hypercar, yesterday we bought the Porsche 918 and maxed it out. So that's sort of my garage at the moment after 100 hours of gameplay. And there are 2 of them which are free, which are the car wrecks that you find on the map. And then there are 6 or 7 of them which came with the game when I bought the Gold Edition. Although you don't have them available from the start, you have to unlock them. Some unlock at level 15, some at level 20, before you can actually drive these things. But eventually they will unlock. And that is sort of more or less what you are playing. If you go to your reputation over here, you press enter, it sort of gives you an idea what's going on. So first you get like some welcome, which is a tutorial on some island. She gives you a Lamborghini. She wants you to follow her a little bit and then race her and beat her. And then you need to give the Lamborghini back. And then she flies you with this helicopter thing here. She flies you to the Solar Hotel. And then you need to meet a chauffeur and go buy your starter's car. That's sort of how the start of the game works. At level 5 you unlock the workshops, so you can start upgrading your cars, although you don't have any parts available. I think she gives you for free the turbo, and then she wants you to go to the workshop and actually put the turbo on. Level 10, the workshop will be upgraded with the green parts, the uncommon parts. Then you can play around a little bit with that. For instance, the Audi TT RS with green parts you can make 550, which is for your first races, the daily driver 550 races, you can get it done with that thing. Then at level 12 you reach the level where you can join a clan, either the streets or the sharps, up to you. The streets are more the underground scene, and the sharps are more the posh people living in a hotel is their HQ, while the streets have an HQ, is a disco bar, pretty much. Level 15, you unlock the cross country, and then it keeps going like that. Every 5 levels something happens. Level 20, you unlock the PvP, but as I said, that's a bit of a utopia because it's mostly a single player game. Level 25, you get a workshop upgrade, meaning you will unlock the blue parts, and also your hotel room will be upgraded to a junior suite. Level 30, you unlock the supercars, so the S-Class is unlocked. Level 35, you unlock the epic parts or the purple parts. Level 40, not much happening. She unlocks the Ferrari and Lamborghini driver for you, but by that time you already found those things. But by unlocking it at level 40, you can actually purchase Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Before that, you are locked. So if you want to drive a Ferrari or Lamborghini, you need to wait to level 40 before you have that. Level 45, you have the executive suite in your hotel, which is the final upgrade, as you saw when we started. That is how it looks like, completely upgraded. And you also unlock the legendary parts or the orange parts in your workshop, which are the highest parts available. At level 50 you unlock the hypercars, which is the final category unlocked. And then that's sort of where we are now at the moment. And at level 55 you unlock the crown jewels, which are pretty much long races, 8 to 10 minute races that it unlocks. And then you can grind a bit more, and then you hit level 60, and that's the end of the campaign, and that is also the end of the single player game in a way. That's how I look at it at this moment. And then there is nothing to do anymore. In the beginning, it's not that great, I must say. Now, the cars itself, I show you sort of my car collection, but you also have the driving assist. So here is also more money to be made. You can put the race line off, or bent only, or always visible. You can see over here that it changes the percentage of more money or less money that you get depending on what you change here. So you can put it off. I am driving on manual, obviously since we're on the wheel, we're driving with pedal shifts. ABS, I have it on at the moment. The TCS, I'm constantly playing around with that thing. If it is rain races, the roads are wet, especially with rear wheel drive cars, I advise you put it on, because otherwise you're not going anywhere except for sideways. In general, I play with it at 50%, which seems to be okay. Could also do 25 if you want. But even with the 4-wheel drive cars and some decent tuning, and you put the TCS off, you're still fighting with that car though. So I find like a sweet spot sort of the 50%. As long as it's not raining and you're not driving a rear-wheel drive car, because then I would advise you to put it on 100%. So those are the driving assists. Then we come to this menu here, which I find a little bit, let's say, not so well explained, because it's probably the most important menu in the whole game, and that is the car setup menu. When you start playing, you get the stock driving mode, which is available. These are preset modes, and when you start playing, all of these things are locked, so you always drive in the stock. You can see the numbers go completely red here if I go onto the stock driving mode. And then once you are hit level 15, then you unlock these pre-made things by the game. In this case, we're on the hypercar. The modes available are rain, dynamic, and circuit. If you drive something like a daily driver, the things are sport, dynamic, and off-road, I think, or something like that. So you have different driving modes available, but they are pretty much set by the game. Once you hit level 20, you can also create up to 6 driving modes for yourself for every car. 6 for every car. Need to see control. Apparently on keyboard it's on control. And then you go in here, and then you can sort of create your own custom setup. You can say like, okay, speed wise I want everything about top speed, stability I want it stable, handling, let's say a bit of balance or sport driving, and we do hard braking so we can stop. You can select any of these, no problem, and then just drive with that. That is sort of a preset custom mode in a way. Or you can go way more in depth and go to these custom things here on the bottom, and you edit those, and then you come to the more detailed sliders. And also here you have those 4 things coming back again: speed, stability, handling, and braking. So you can sort of say like, okay, for braking I want the hard braking. You go to hard braking, it will show you what the brake bias is, and it will show you what the brake power is. And you say, oh, but I want balance. These are the numbers for balance. Or soft braking, these are the numbers. And then you sort of, on customize, you sort of, what I do usually is I go to hard braking, because I want to have some proper braking going on. I look at these numbers, see what they are, and then I go to custom and I adjust them. In this case, I put the brake bias more or less the same as the hard braking program, but I gave it more brake pressure so that this thing stops quicker. We need this thing to stop. This thing goes almost 600 kilometers an hour. I want this car to stop. So you can play around with that and then save it on custom mode for the braking. And the same goes for the handling. You can select one of these: safe driving, balanced, sport driving. Or you look at these things and say like, hey, what's going on here? And then sort of adjust it accordingly. So you can sort of see what the safe driving means by going over these sliders. You can see what balance means. You can see what sport driving. And then you can go to custom and adjust the sliders sort of what you like. So what I mean by that is that's what these things are, right? You can say handling. You try a few out of these programs, and then eventually you will sort of figure out what you like of these. Let's say you want the balanced one here, or more top speed, and you check that one, and then stability, you check that one, sports driving, and then you go for hard braking. You can check those, test them out. If you don't like it, change to something else, and then one of those 3 that you like the most, I would go into custom and then see what the sliders are and then adjust them a little bit to your liking. So if you like the handling balanced, then you go to handling balanced and you see what the sliders are. Scroll through them, see what they are all. Where is your camber? Like here, the camber is not great, doesn't steer that great, but then you know where the sliders are, and then you go to custom and then you adjust it and change the camber wherever you want that. That's sort of options that you can do, and that way you customize it. It's a bit in depth, of course, I'm not a mechanic, but you play around a bit with the camber and stiffen up the suspension a bit for road cars or soften it a bit for off-road cars, and then you already get a long way. This is nothing else than basically the things you see in Forza or the things you see in Motorfest with all of these sliders. But they're a bit hidden in a way. They just mention like, hey, you unlock the custom mode, but they do not explain you that there is a really in-depth menu with all kind of sliders. You can change your ride height, you can change your tire pressure, the whole whatchamadoodle, which means you can sort of personalize and tune your car the way you want it to have it. So it's quite an important menu here, this car setup menu, although it's not mentioned that much. Then you have the Solar Crown. Yeah, it's not much happening there at the moment. There is a Solar Pass, some sort of Battle Pass, Season Pass coming, but it will be available next season. Not sure exactly when next season starts. Will be the first season, obviously, seeing the game is just released. There is they have done a video about the year one program, let's say. In the first season, this Solar Pass thing will unlock. In season 2, you do a trip to Ibiza or something, so will be a map expansion, I guess, and so on. The competition is, as you can see, we are bronze 3. That's our rank with our placement races. We haven't found any other races since. It also says it is off season because, of course, the season hasn't started yet. And then you have a calendar which has daily challenges. Today it was a hot hat, which are pretty much 3 races on the map. Will have a blue icon, and that will be the hot hats. And that's basically a 24-hour leaderboard. So you can do that race over and over again, try to improve your times, get into the leaderboard, and then depending where you finish, you will get a certain amount of money tomorrow. So that's what the hot hat is, which will go for about 1 hour more, I think. It usually resets at 10 AM European time, 4 AM Eastern US. And then it resets, and then it says coming soon, which basically means tomorrow there will be a clan battle bet challenge. Which means you need to challenge other players or something, I don't know. Also here, not very well explained. It's sort of, you see the event rules, it sort of explains you what's going on and what you need to do. Like for instance, if we look on the map now for these hot hat thingies, I can see there is one. So you can see here I'm in the top 5%, which means in theory I should get $100,000 tomorrow. If you're in the top 15%, then you get 85, 75 in the top, and so on. So no matter how good or bad you are, you just set some time. You see what time you need to get into that top 5%. In this case, we needed a 137.7. Anything below that, you will get 100,000 tomorrow. And there, I don't know exactly where the other ones are, but there should be 3 available every day. The ranked races are these things which are sort of surrounded with orange. Those are the PvP races available at that time. I don't know exactly when they changed, but they changed. Throughout the day, they constantly changed. It will be different races throughout the map. Is it every 30 minutes or every hour or something? It will change. As now, at this moment, you will find 3 of these races somewhere around the map. Here I can see another one, for instance. And there are 3 in total, and that changes every 30 or every 60 minutes. It changes to 3 other races, and that's where the PvP is happening. That's where you need to go if you want to race PvP. Sometimes it's a high stakes battle, but that was also something which didn't work the other day for me. Then you have to go to that race, and you have to bet or spend $5,000. That's your entry fee. It goes into the prize pool. You put some time on that leaderboard, and then depending where you finished in the leaderboard, you will get a certain amount of the prize pool the next day. Of course, higher up in the prize pool, you will make profit. If you're lower up or lower down in the prize pool, you obviously will lose money because the entry fee is 5,000. So there are different daily challenges. Now, seeing we're still on this map, you want to level up. All of these races that you see on the map, they do not level up that much. They level up about 2500 XP in the normal circumstances. You can get some bonuses here and there, but most of them are just a one-time thing. First completion bonus and new record and things like that. You can only improve your record so many times, and you can of course only do the first completion bonus once, because the second time you go there you already got that bonus. So in general you get 2500 XP, which is not great to level up if you consider that from level 1 to level 2 you need like 2000 XP. From level 2 to level 3 you need another 3000 XP, and it keeps going like that. So if you like in my case now, I'm level 50, I need to go to level 51, I need 51,000 XP. And then if I want to go to level 52, I need another 52,000 XP. At 2500 a pop for a race, that's not going very well unless you want to do a 10-hour racing session. So what you want to look for is this opening the map, shift down or left bumper on your controller. It will open up all these secondary tasks, and that's where your biggest XP is. Like here you can see you need to win a total of 200,000 bucks with a hypercar vehicle in this specific Quarry Bay district. So you need to do some races in that district, make sure you make 200,000, and then you get 140,000 coins on top of it. You get some sticker and you get 12,000 XP. And there are more of these races, depending a bit on your level. These are like the level 45 races, they get you all 12,000 XP. If you go a little bit for the lower ones, which I probably still have a few sitting, let's see. As you can see, I already completed 87 of these things. Like this, for instance, this is a level 20 task, and that only gives you 8,000 XP. But nevertheless, 8,000 is still more than the 2,500 you get from a race. But it sometimes can be a little bit, like in this case, you need to do finish in the top 3 in amusement park, which is somewhere a race on the map. Then you can pin that, then it will tell you where it is. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. But here I have my problem. So I can get 8,000 XP from this race. There's only one problem. This race is restricted to the Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe, old Porsche, 600,000 bucks. Or you can use the Jaguar E-Type Coupe series. Little problem there as well. That thing is 1 million. So for one race they want you to buy a 1 million car, and we are getting from that race 20,000 bucks. That's where I say there is a bit of a problem with the economy in this game. In the beginning it all seems fine, but once you start leveling up and you're sort of, let's say from level 50 to level 60, the final levels of the game, the money is not that great. If I do this race 5 times, I can make 100,000, 5 times 20,000. If I do it the 6th time, then I can only get 10,000 from it, because then the price suddenly halves. So I'm not sure what they are trying to do with this, but higher level, you do not get enough money to get even the next car. So it is very important that you think about the purchase of your vehicle for every of these 5 different classes. And that's why I would say just go for whatever the leaderboard says. Look at the leaderboard of most of these races and just buy that car, because otherwise you're gonna have a problem. Later on, if you grind enough and in a month time, you might have enough money to buy some extra cars. But at this moment in time, I would just say go for whatever the OP leaderboard car is, because that's one you're gonna need. And in general, that's gonna come down to a 4-wheel drive car. And that's why we end up with this car that we have here. So for the 550 daily driver, I would say go for the Audi TT RS. For the cross country, it's definitely the Santero buggy. For the GT 700 races, the Porsche Taycan Gran Turismo. For the S900 races, go for a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, because most of these races are a battle between Ferrari and Lamborghini. Also for your secondary tasks, where all the XP is, that's also you have to either drive a Lamborghini and beat Ferraris, or you have to drive a Ferrari and beat Lamborghinis to get the XP. But in general, I would say go for the Lamborghini Huracan, and then later when you have enough money, then you buy a Ferrari, so you can also do the other task where you have to beat the Lamborghinis. And for hypercar, you can either go for one of the four-wheel drive Bugattis or the Porsche 918. I would focus on those first. Make sure you have those in your garage. Then you can easily beat the AI and get those races done and get your XP done and get your level done, and that way you can easily get to level 60. That's sort of explained what we have available, except for, of course, exploration, which I cannot show you because I have found everything already. There are some little icons around the map that you can find, and they're either coins, or they are XP, or they are clan influence. Because the once you join a clan, of course you have your level. Like in this case, I'm level 50. That's my player's level. That can go to 60, and then you have reached the maximum. But you also have your clan, which has its own level system, and that is over here in the clan battle. I'm level 14 there. I haven't done that many clan races. This thing you level up by doing clan races, which are these things on the map which have a double S symbol in a way. There's a few of those races around all over the place, like over here for instance. This thing here is a clan battle. What does that mean? That means that it's 4 streets versus 4 sharps. Of course, the same story again. You go into a 2-minute countdown. It's looking for other players. If you don't find any other players, then you're gonna fill up your lobby with AI. If you're driving with AI, you need to win the race for your clan to be winning. If you drive it with 8 other players, let's say we have a full lobby of 8 players, then it should normally count sort of the positions, and then the ones who have the lowest total of positions, they win the battle. But if you race against the AI, you pretty much need to win, otherwise you lose the clan battle. If you finish, let's say in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th with your streets, and but there is a sharps in first, then the sharps win the game. If you're with the AI, that's not the case. If you're, let's say, it would be players, and let's say the sharps finishes on 1, 5, 6 and 7. That's 19 in total, and then you enter in 2, 3, 4 and 8. That's 17 in total, which means there's a lower number than the sharps, which means the streets win. Although we did not win the race. We finished in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 8th with our 4 people, but we still will win the race. But not if we race against the AI. If you race against the AI, you need to win or your clan will lose. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So that's where you will get some XP, not that much for your normal level, but you will get mostly XP for your clan. And in the clan, there are sort of 50 levels, I think. After 10 levels, you can, in my case, I'm with the streets. I can challenge the DJ or something like that. Then you race against him, you get some money from it. At level 20, clan influence, then you can challenge another person in the streets. So you sort of go through these things, and eventually, when you have clan influence level 50, you can challenge the boss. And I think if you challenge him, you can actually win his car, I believe. But I'm not sure, I'm not there yet. Because I am not a fan of racing against these AIs, which unfortunately is at this moment in time a bit of a problem. Because, as I said, it's a bit of a single player game, so you're mostly racing against the AI. So not that interesting. Now, as you can see, there are also some daily things you can do. There's also 12,000 XP in there. So I would advise you to also do those every day. Those are some firmware levels that you need to change. You need to reach a certain speed. You need to complete some races, or in this case, 3 instant challenges. That's not going to happen for me, because that means you need to run into another player so that you can challenge him, which doesn't happen very often. So yeah, all in all, it's a pretty cool game for a single player game, but unfortunately it is announced as a MMO, a multiplayer online game. That's a bit of a problem. You can't play with your friends unless they live next door, seeing the region locked servers. Other than that, you do not see any players in your races. So yeah, it is a bit of a rough start, right? Now, in my case, I had pretty okay with the server situation, but some people have. The first day, for instance, I started playing and I played for 5 hours. I streamed for 5 hours or 6 hours the first session, and then I took a break and I streamed another 5 hours after dinner. So I streamed for like 11 hours. Day 2 and 3 I streamed for 11 hours as well. No problems. Meanwhile, there were some people trying to get online, trying to get the game to start up. Didn't work at all. So maybe I was a bit lucky there. I had not too many issues with this server structure in general. There have been meanwhile some maintenance and things like that, which helped it work out a little bit better. And today they also posted an article that next week there will be a bunch of maintenances happening, and also 1 or 2 patches which will fix a lot of the stuff that we have given feedback about. But all in all, TDU Solar Crown has had a rough start. For me, there are 3 things which annoys the hell out of me. Of course, given the fact I can't play with my friends, number 1 is definitely the region lock bullshit. Get it out of there. Make sure you have worldwide servers. Let people, like in my case, I'm playing on EU at night. I need American players to race, or I'm gonna have empty lobbies for the rest of this game. Because people in EU, most of them are, of course, unless they're a Nighthawk like myself, they will be in bed. So I need US players to play with, or I will be doing races against the AI the whole time. Secondly, what's annoyed the hell out of me is that you cannot travel to a race. You can only travel to these gas stations, meeting points, workshops. That's all fine if it's anywhere close by. But let's say I want to do this race over here. There is nothing around here. The first thing over here is the gas station and the meeting point over here. That's all fine, but it's grayed out because it's bugged out. We have discovered all of these things, but there are, I think the problem at this moment in time is this meeting point here, which is the Repulse Bay meeting point. Whenever you discover that thing and you put it on your map, whatever you discover afterwards from gas stations and dealers shows up on your map until you reboot the game, and then they gray out again. Then you have to discover them again, although you have the Steam achievement for discovering all of these things at once. So yeah, that is bugged. That's hopefully one of the things that they will be fixing during this week, because now at this moment in time I have nothing to travel to this whole district because it's all grayed out, because I was discovering on top, and then I found that meeting point. The dealership, the workshop here is grayed out, and then these 3 are grayed out as well, because that's what I did after that meeting point. For instance, Forever Pink, who was driving at the same time, but obviously different region, but we were together on Discord, so she also sort of found that, and then she went to that district, and now for her everything over here is bugged out when it comes to car dealers and meeting points. So it seems to be that the problem is this thing here, but I'm assuming it's been reported on the website and whatnot that they are onto it, so that's probably one of those fixes that will come in the next week. But other than that, I still annoy the hell out of me. The fact that if I just want to go over here and I want to do this race, I should be able to click there and travel there. I can't. Now I can put my GPS on that thing, and then I need to go see what is close by here. Oh, I can now go to this gas station and then fast travel there. I don't want to be in that gas station. I want to do that race, but I can't. And now I have to drive 1.2 kilometers to get to that race that I just marked. That annoys the hell out of me. So that's my number 2. I would like to be able to travel to any race icon on the map. And the same goes for the thing that you need to change your car. Because then you drive there and you need another car, and then you're not in that car, and then the whole whatchamadoodle with problem starts with that. Or you're just cruising around on the road and you come on an off-road path or road or whatever. You want to quickly change to the buggy so you can easily drive on that path. That's not possible. Then you have to travel to a gas station or a meeting point where you can change your car. Those are the 3 things that I would like to see changed. Obviously this is more personal, this thing that I want to travel to whatever race I can, but some of them are like, especially in the off-road section here, right? If you want to do this race, yeah, good luck getting there. You can get there from this off-road dealer, or you can get there from this gas station, but there's not, you can already see it. If I put this here, that's already going to be a 2-3 kilometer trip, 3.1 kilometers before I can get there. Now of course I can travel here and maybe it's a bit shorter, or maybe it's even longer, you don't know. I'm not a fan of this traveling stuff, especially seeing you don't see anybody in these places anywhere, so what's the point of traveling there? The idea behind that is to meet new players or something, but you don't see anybody on the map, so seeing it's a bit of a single player. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that. That is definitely something that I would like to see changed as quickly as possible. Get rid of these region locks so we can play with our friends. Also for leaderboards, it's different. I was this hot hat thing here, for instance. I was looking on the screen of the US players. The first guy there has a 130. The one on the EU servers here has a 126. With a 130 here in the EU server, you're not even in the top 25 or top 30 on that leaderboard. But the number one in the US at this moment has a 130. The number one in the EU has a 126. So also here, not only is the whole session region locked, also the leaderboards are region locked. So you only see the people in your continent, basically, in the leaderboard. And the same way the game works. So yeah, this is, I don't know. We are 2024 and we are region locked in a game which is open world, which is supposed to be multiplayer, massive multiplayer online, an MMO. It's none of it all. So those are definitely things they need to focus on. They need to get rid of this shit. You need to be able to play with people from all over the world. Within a certain ping or so, right? They can limit it to 120 or 150 ping, and then, but then it's still fine, right? And you still can, people from EU can still play with people from East US at least, which is about 100 ping, that's fine. Even if it's just for cruising around, right? Maybe not racing, but even for cruising around, that you can at least drive around with your friends. Now you can only drive around with your friends if they live nearby in the real world. That is stupid. In 2024, that is actually, that's a no-go. That's my opinion about it. So yeah, all in all, decent game. I'm taking it slowly because I'm starting to wonder, once I hit level 60 maximum level, I'm not a fan of racing with AI. I want to race other players, not AI. So once I hit level 60, I'm sort of done with this game. Because then we have done all the races. We have got first place in all these races. We have a gold thing on it. And that's sort of when you switch to clan battles and PvP and ranked racing and those things. But yeah, if you don't get any players in your lobby, you're only racing against AI. That's the end of that story, isn't it? So yeah, it definitely needs to be optimized a little bit better. They need to get rid of this region lock as soon as possible. They need to more about, because everybody can go through this race and do this thing, and once you hit level 60, we're all at that same problem, right? We have played some sort of single player campaign where you barely met any other player, and that's the end of the world. There is nothing to explore. We have discovered every road. Well, sorta. I'm at 99%. I missed a little bit here or there because there are some hidden roads. All these little things here, these are pods, and they will not show up on your map. These little dotted lines here, they don't show up on your map unless you drive like 5 meters on the road, and then it will show on your map. And there are, this is now just one example, there are for instance over here, I think there are a bunch somewhere in the south here. Where was it? Over here. Yeah, here it's a whole, you see this? These are all different roads, all different paths, a little path, and then even a branch of a path, and it branches more and more, and usually at the end of that path is then like one of those radiant prizes that you can collect. That's another thing I would like to see. You see, like, for instance, this district, this is the Czech District 9. There's one workshop, one meeting point, 2 wrecks, 39 radiant prices in this district. I would like to see to get another one here which says how many roads there are. Then we can figure out where our last road is, or at least in what district it is that we are looking for. But there are some problems with finding the roads, also map-wise, for instance. If we go, especially on the top there. This district, for instance, is a very bad one. Give you one example here, because you have some different colors of blue. You barely see it, but there are some different colors of blue. And there is a highway going through the city here. But you can also drive under that bridge, and you cannot see that on this map. So it's very hard to find like that last road that you're missing here or there, because it's somewhere underneath there. The construct of these colors is not great choice, I find, on this map. And then there are some very that's more over here, sort of. You have like some in through these high buildings here. Depending a bit where you have your camera, there are sometimes like here. You see this? There's like a road in between those big buildings. I have found this road, so it's lit up, so you can see it now on this map. But imagine that this is not blue, it's grayed out. It's very hard to see, especially if you're like, let's say over here with your camera, you do not see that road. There is no way, you can only see that road when you're actually above with your map. So you need to zoom in on your map and see if you can, if there is a road or something. If it's grayed out, it's very hard to spot, to find that last thing. So yeah, I don't know where it is. I'm at 99.9% probably something. Like one or two roads that I'm missing somewhere, who knows where. Probably under the bridge somewhere. So all in all, this thing needs some improvement. It already improved a little bit. When we started playing, we're mostly getting 60 FPS. Now we're already getting 70 to 80 FPS. Especially in the District 9 Southeast, you can get up to 100 FPS because there's less things happening, it's less cities there. So it's a bit more open, so you usually get like 10 FPS more or something. But optimization is a thing. Region lock, they need to get rid of it. They need to make it worldwide servers. They need to improve the server connection between players, because at this moment I think it's just session bound. I don't think it's even like region bound, it is session bound. You can only raise the people that you see right here in the player list. What is it? Left shift. Yeah, like here I have one guy, Mr. Binocular, whatever he is. There he is. The man is cruising around here. So this is the only guy in my session. So if I want to do this race, this guy needs to come to this race and race with me. Otherwise, I will be up against AI. I can sit there for 2 minutes countdown. If this guy does not show up in this race, I do not have a race. Because you can only race the people that you see here nearby in your session. And that's the problem. That's why the thing never fills up. That's why you're always up against AI and not against other players. So there is definitely a problem with this matchmaking thing. So what you end up with is like, yeah, you need to make a group of 4 people, and then you can go to a race or to ranked racing or whatever, or to clan battle, and then you know that you have at least 4 people in there. Because having to hope on the random people, well, good luck with that. That's not gonna happen. Anyway, sort of my thoughts on this as it is at the moment. Turned out to be a 1-hour video, and we talked about most of the things that I think of. There is some money out there, especially in the secondary task, which is opening the map and then shift down, or LB on your controller. This is where most of your XP is, in these primary and secondary tasks. So this is a very important list. And then of course you can do the speed traps. If you get 3 stars in a speed trap, it's 5,000 plus 15 plus 30, so it's 50,000 possible in there, money wise. But yeah, you can see 100 hours of gameplay. We have 1.8 million left, and we still have to buy the Porsche Taycan, which brings us down to 700,000. Then upgrade that thing. So we probably have about 500,000 coins left with 100 hours of gameplay and almost maximum level. And we have 1 car in every category, which sort of matters. all the rest I cannot buy any new cars. Because I'm at the end of the campaign, there is no more XP to be gained. Once I hit level 60, there is no more XP to be gained because you went through the whole campaign thing with the XP. You have maximum level, there's no XP, and money is 20,000 per race. For 5 times. And the 6th time, 7th and 8th time, then it's already 10,000 per race. So yeah, I need another month or so to get a few more cars in my garage. Grind. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Forza adept where people get 700 cars from wheel spins without doing anything. Definitely not. But there needs to be a bit more of a balanced situation. This hypercar, for instance, 4.2 million was the price for the car, plus about 300,000-400,000 for the parts. So somewhere around 4.5 million for this hypercar. You get 20,000 for a race. You can do the math on how many races you need to do to be able to buy this car. That's why it's very important to take the right car, because if you pick the wrong car, yeah, then you're screwed. Then you have to grind a week races to be able to buy the other car that you actually wanted to buy. So yeah, we need a bit more money from races, I think. Doesn't need to be 100,000 for every race, but 50,000 would be okay, I think, instead of 20,000. And without going downwards after 5 races. It just should be the same price overall. Otherwise everybody's gonna be broke as hell very quickly. And you cannot buy a car for the fun of it, because no, you need to make the right choices or you are screwed in certain categories. If you like for instance in GT races, if you buy a rear wheel drive car, yeah, you're screwed, yeah, you need a 4-wheel drive car. It's all fine, maybe you can get away with it against the AI. You might have to redo 1 or 2 races to get the AI, even to beat the AI. But you might get away with it with your rear-wheel drive car, but if you're up against other players... Which immediately also brings us to the other point, that they need to balance out these cars a little bit more. At this moment, every of the 5 categories has an OP car. So you know for a fact that once they ever figure out how to get people together in a lobby, and you go into ranked racing or clan battles or any of that sort, you know what's gonna happen. People are gonna drive 5 different cars. Audi TTRS, Porsche Taycan, the buggy in cross country, some Lamborghini in super sport, and in hypercar probably the Porsche 918. Everybody's gonna be in the same car. There are about 100 cars in that game, also not super if you compare it to the competition, where you have 700 plus cars both in Motorfest as in Horizon. Then 100 cars in this game is also pretty poor if you look at it like that, because that's sort of what it's up against, right? We are looking for a arcade, simcade, racing game, open world. Yeah, people will have a look at it, they will play it, and they move on. If you cannot find any players in your lobby, then they go to Motorfest and do a grand race with 28 players or something, you know. So they need to do some changes, they need to do some updates, they need to do some optimization, and they cannot wait too long with it, because people are not very patient in 2024 in the gaming world. They move on very quickly if you do not get your act together. So get it together, dear KT Racing Kyloton, because otherwise this is a single player game where people will move away from very quickly. Anyway, that's my thoughts, very long explained in a video, but I wanted to make sure we hit every single point that I could think of. For me, it's fun on the wheel, but unfortunately if I can't play with friends or against other players, then I will be one of those people that moves on very quickly. I am not racing against AI, that I am not interested in that. Then I don't need to buy a MMO, then I can buy some sort of single player campaign game that will be exactly doing the same thing. So get your act together out there as quickly as possible, KT Racing, and then we have something to play. As for now, that will be it. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.